So I published Monster Scene magazine. I started that in 1992. Oh, here she is. Should I finish? But, you know, we're doing a session at 11:30 on Monster. They're not here to see me. I'm so sad.
No, I thought that was pretty.
I brought your badge. I brought your badge in case you couldn't remember.
Oh, thank you. Do I need to have it on?
No, you don't.
Thank you.
You're a celebrity.
My God, look at that.
I just brought it in case we needed fact-finding information.
Okay.
May I introduce to you the beautiful, the very talented, and now my new friend, Martine Beswicke.
Yes.
So, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to MONSTERAMA.
Thanks.
Everyone asked all the questions already, so you can go back to that if you want. I answered everything. I made it all up.
I'm so glad you did that. Yeah, that's really good. That's just my job done.
It is.
Excellent. All right, what should we do now?
We'll talk about how you're running for president.
No,
yesterday we talked, no politics.
No.
Anyway, welcome. So, I think today, do you want to just share stories of your wonderful life, or do you want to field questions?
Yes, let's just do the ask.
Can we just start with questions?
Yeah.
Does anyone have
Much
anything
easier.
they want to ask? Okay, we have one.
You want me to just jump in?
I want you to jump in.
Okay, all right. So, me and my friends here, we've been having our own personal Martine Film Festival to prepare us for MONSTERAMA. So we watched what, Thunderball and One Million Years We See, and Prehistoric Women. So
Excuse me, and how long did this take you?
weeks.
Thank God it wasn't just a night.
No, we would meet. We'd meet every Friday. But we've noticed that, okay, at least 3 of them have this, you're in a fight scene
I know.
in every one of them. Was that fun? And was it written into the script, or was that?
It was
Okay.
written in the script, and I thought I got the name. In fact, there was a whole sort of article in the papers, and it was titled "Battling Beswicke," because I keep on battling.
Oh, all right.
You know, so it really was. And it's interesting because I actually thought, you know, why did that? Because I started when I did Russia with Love, it was a fight.
Yes, that's right.
And then it was, the next one was actually Thunderball, where I was a victim, which is the only time, please God, wasn't happy about being a victim. But then there was 1 Million Years We See, same thing. And then again, a lot of murdering in prehistoric. And I thought, I wonder whether it has to do with, I was thinking whether it might have something to do with the way my life was going at the moment, at that time. Who was I at that time? And I think I was one feisty woman. And I never thought of myself as, if I lean back, is that better? Because it sounded like it was like...
We're getting some feedback from
Yeah.
somewhere, but I'm not sure where.
I know it's the room. I actually thought, that's pretty weird. If I sit back, we'll put that back there.
It's not even coming from us.
No?
I think it's from back there.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully it won't be too bad.
Can you all hear?
Yeah. Okay, so I was thinking, well, maybe, why was it that I was doing all these fights? And I started to wonder, where was I in my life? And as I said, I didn't think of myself as a feminist, but I was kind of pissed off to see the inequality between men and women. I mean, I wanted to stamp around and say, I'm sorry, do you mean we're less than? So there was always that going on in my life at the time. So it was interesting that I was doing all these battles, because and I watched sort of where my life was going with all the films. And that was really interesting, because I thought, yeah, it was about how I felt in my life. So I was kind of like punching up because I was pissed off. You know, what do you mean I can't do it? What do you mean because I'm a woman I can't, leap about and, bed hop like you're doing without being called a slut? They're always like, oh, men, it's just men. And then it was for women, it was like, oh. I thought, forget it, this is not going to work. And it was really interesting when I kind of took a look at that and thought, I see, okay. So that was my sort of realization of where I was at in my
That's
life.
interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Before we go, yesterday you told me a little bit of a story about the fight scene you had with Raquel Welch, one of the leaders we see. Do you want to share that about the stunt doubles?
Yeah. We were sitting, now, Raquel and I have a lot of sisters in my life. I have a lot of tribes that I dearly love. I mean, they're like, my heart is filled with all this love that I give and receive. And we were sitting there beside each other, and she was never my sister, but we got on well. It was just, we were professional, and we were working together, and we were sitting in our chairs, and we're looking, and they bring out these two people who are going to do this fight, and they're stunt doubles. But they're not doubles at all. They don't even look like us. They don't even look physically like us. And the two of us are sitting there, we say nothing at all, and they watch it and said, these are the ones that we're going to do, and they're showing us a bit of what. And we just turned to each other and said, absolutely not. And we looked at each other and said, no, we're going to do it. And of course it's, it's insurance, and we can't do it. No, we're doing it. So they brought in a stunt coordinator, and we did it. And it was such a good fight, actually, because I said, we looked at each other and went, we're dancers. We can do this. You just work us up, and we'll get it done. So we felt very proud of ourselves.
So now would you say you had that same relationship with the woman you had to fight with in from Russia with love? Let me read a quote from Martine from an interview. I was a very nice girl, but Eliza was a cow. We had terrible clashes, and I was disgusted with her.
Oh, no, I never said that.
Wikipedia said you did.
No, that is so bad. Exactly, that is so bad. I would never. That's not my dialogue at all. I mean, if anything, I would have sworn. I didn't print that, right?
Maybe cow was just a nice
word.
word.
A joke.
Yeah, yeah.
And the other thing too is that she's what I'm supposed to say.
We had terrible clashes, and I was disgusted with her. I had a lot of anger inside of me, so that fight scene was a perfect way to work it out.
Oh, they went to town. That has nothing to do with what it was about.
Tell us about the real story.
No, it was, the thing about it is that she was this petite, cute little thing, and she'd been Miss Israel, and everybody thinks that I was Miss Jamaica. I was never made it to the end. And so, she was kind of like, oh, I am so beautiful, and I am so this, and I am so, and look at the beautiful hat. And I'm thinking, so, okay, so we're both beautiful, so what's the point? And I am so, and I'm thinking, who's this woman? Anyway, I said, okay, back off. We have to do this. So we literally rehearsed for 3 weeks, and we actually did it. I mean, there was no real battle about it, because I realized that who she was. I just had to back off, and we had to get it done. And I was completely committed to getting this done. So when we came to the actual shoot, unfortunately, she was not particularly adored, because she kept saying, and of course I'm standing there going, and she's going, and unfortunately there was sort of people going, why don't you just, you're a good whack. And I said, I can't do that. People are actually saying to me, well, go on. No, I can't do that. We have to get this fight done brilliantly. So there's no way that I would. But every now and again, if something went wrong, I'd just go, oh, it hurt, and everybody went. And I did not do it on purpose because I really was committed to make this fight. Because Terence, actually, the reason why we choreographed it for so long, we worked for so long, was because Terence Young, who I adored, I mean, absolutely adored. You will understand that I adore a lot of people. So Terence said he wanted to do it handheld, which means he wanted to go in close, which means that we had to know the fight in order, if he needed to shoot something, we needed to know exactly how to get back to that point. So it was an absolutely essential situation that we're in. So no matter what this rubbish, I did not say that. I just said, she was not a sister, and she, we got on. I heard that she had said, oh, she was so lovely to me. I thought, oh dear. But I did not say that. I mean, that was not it. So, but we did, and it was a really good fight. It was we left each other. And also the other thing too, she said that, she was not involved with anyone, and I discovered that she was married. That really pissed me off. When she kept saying, oh, but I'm so pure, and I thought, and I didn't, and of course I'm just the wild child all over. It's the 60s, hello. I'm tasting everything. And meanwhile, she's going, oh. And then I discover, because a friend of mine, she lives in a block of flats that a friend of mine was in, and I was telling her about this fight and things. She said, well, she lives just down, because she was German. She says, she lived just down there. And I said, really? She said, yes, with her husband. Oh, what? And that was it. That was it. And then I just pulled back and I went, okay, we're going to get this fight done, and I won't kill you, but we're going to get this done professionally. So that was the story.
Well, I apologize for embarrassing you by reading this awesome quote
that
you did not say.
I do not care.
How long did it take to film that particular fight?
We were on the back lot it was a night shoot, for I think about 10 days, 10 days or 2 weeks, because it was a huge fight, because of, it was the whole, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't just the belly dance and the girls, the whole,
It's a good fight.
Exactly, yeah. So I'm glad. I think it was really good, actually. It was really, and Terence did us proud, because it was a very iconic fight, because it hadn't been done like that before. I mean, after that, everybody's kind of, punching each other and jumping into water and, pulling hair. And no, it wasn't that. This was really, it was very authentic. It was very authentic.
Yes.
So, yeah. And that's what it was supposed to be. So we were very professional, regardless of my.
Next question, anyone?
I'll go. First of all, I want to say that I want to preface this by saying I think Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde is one of my top 3 favorite stories of the Dr. Jekyll story. And the fact that they made it at all and it didn't come off as campy or silly really was an accomplishment in itself. You never felt you were supposed to laugh at this, but you took it dead seriously. So congratulations all around for that. But the question I have is, and it kind of relates to you saying about the inequality between men and women back then, and I notice that in horror movies too sometimes, is as much as I like that movie, one of the missed opportunities I felt they had was they didn't have enough Sister Hyde in it. And the other Dr. Jekyll movies they always emphasized how evil Mr. Hyde was. The stuff he did, how both physically and psychologically he would torture people. And we never really got that in Sister Hyde. I always kind of felt because a woman was playing the monster character, there's a little sexism that they held it back. They didn't want to, they thought, oh, if we make her pure evil or do the stuff that her men counterparts did, it would cause outrage and people wouldn't like it. So she's a villain, but she's still a woman, so she can't do as much, be as evil as her male counterparts. I wondered if you thought the same thing when you were making
Well,
this
actually,
more.
interestingly, somebody just said it was like watching Liquid Evil when they saw me.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing was that, I was pretty evil. I mean, I had not a problem. I mean, Sister Hyde had no problems with killing. And she did it in such a way that it had nothing to do with, in fact, it's interesting because there is, when I first heard about this, I was living in Los Angeles. This is a story I keep telling all the time. I was living in Los Angeles, and I came back to London, and my old agency was William Morris, and I went in to say hello to everybody. And when I walked in, they said, "Ah, my God!" I said, "They're looking for you." I said, "Who's looking for me?" And they said, "Well, you know, they're doing Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde at Hammer." And they just, I said, "They're doing what?" And I said, they're not. They're not turning him into a her. That is ridiculous. So I just laughed a lot. And then I went to see them, and of course it was in the bag. And then I thought, hang on a minute, this could be really interesting, because I always felt that all of us have male and female in us. I mean, you know, there's no pure nothing. Pure blood, pure female, pure, no. So, and I feel like I'm an alpha male at times, right? So I thought, hang on, this could be really interesting. Maybe we can really dig into it and see where it goes. Unfortunately, they wanted, because it was at the point that Hammer was going for the nudity, a lot of nudity. Now, I agreed to expose, you know, my breasts, purely because it had to be that way, because suddenly he is a her, and now discovered, oh, hello, what are these? You know, and discovering her power at that point, and I totally understood that. But then they decided they wanted full nudity. I said, no, it's not in the script, I'm not doing it. And so I became quite difficult. And I said, no, I'm not doing it. I said, because it's not in the script and it's not necessary. And there was a bit of a fight that went on, and I demanded that I had a merkin. And I don't know if you know that, it's I need a wig for. and it was absolutely, and it was really, because I was being really bad, I thought, I am sorry, you are not doing this to me. And the poor, you know, hairdresser was like, you know, trying to measure, and I said, listen, let's stop this nonsense right now. I am not doing it, and that's all there is to it. So we came to an agreement. I mean, in fact, Roy Ward Baker, we were sort of loggerheads for a while. And then I said, look, there was a scene, which you probably remember. There's a scene when I have to take off the robe and go up to the curtain, pull it down, and make a dress out of it. And I said, I'm fine with taking off the robe, going over, and I said, I really do it in one take, because I'm really good at doing this. I've had a lot of toga parties in my time. So I went over and we did it, and when I came on set to do this, there were like a few steps down, and the camera was right in front of me, pointing at me, and I just went, are you kidding me? You can't do that. You cannot photograph me like that. I mean, this is not what it's all about. You have to photograph me as I go in there and take down the dress. So they finally pulled back, and we did it. And it was one take, of course. It was after that, then we really got on to really doing it. And the thing about, you know, the male-female, she doesn't have to act like a male to be a complete and utter killer. She just has to use her female side, because now she's discovered her power. And that moment when she discovers her power is one of my favorite moments, when she's standing there laughing and carrying on, and suddenly she sees, she's like, oh, hello, what are these? It is not because it's him, her. And so it was always interesting, that him, her thing. So I'm standing there and I look in there. At the moment, the guy from upstairs comes down, opens the door, and I turn like that because I'm completely unaware that this is a problem, and he's like shocked. And it occurs to me, oh, Sister Hyde, oh, I see. This is my power. And from that moment on, it goes into a full-blown killer and also wanting to take over from Jekyll. So I mean, it was really an interesting film to do, and it was one of my better performances because I really was committed to doing it, to giving it, as you said, this was not a laugh account. You know, this was a real situation for us. And many years later, when we were doing one of those, you know, comments, and it was Roy Ward Baker, Brian Clements, who I adored. He was so fabulous. I liked Roy too. He was really a good director. And we were doing this thing, and he said, you know, Martine, he said, I wish we could have gone deeper with it. And I went, well, he said, all right, no, I know. I said, but they must say anything.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Well, you know, I think as far as could you have been more evil, yesterday we were talking about the publicity photo of you and Ralph next to each other and how everyone just says you two look exactly alike, and then we talked about actual bone structure and you look nothing alike. And yet that photo is so famous, but if you look at your face, and you know I think you're beautiful, the look on your face, there's a little tiny barely a little smirk, and I'm like, this is a killer, and this is evil, and you just pulled it off so well.
Well, thank you. Thanks. I mean, I really loved doing it too, and it was really an interesting. I mean, there were moments when even I remember there was a moment when I'm sort of standing outside, waiting to find another victim. And I'm standing outside this pub, and I go into a whole sort of like, and you can literally almost see what is going through my head. Okay, and I'm thinking, and I smile and I go into the pub and I'm kind of looking around. I mean, it was such fun to do because it was really, I mean, I was looking for some prey. I mean, really, I loved being a killer. And as soon as I said to me, so what, I mean, how do you feel about the roles you played? I said, I'm a murderer, honey. I love it. It's just fabulous. So, yeah.
People remember the bad guy.
Sorry?
People remember the bad guy more than the hero, wasn't it?
Precisely. You know, being a victim is very boring. Very boring.
Anyone else?
You've talked about using the acting roles to explore different parts of human nature. Was that what drew you into acting, or did you discover along the way that, hey, there's a power here in acting where you can really get into understanding people?
Actually, it was from I was a very little girl, and I must have been about 4 or 5, and when somebody asked me, I told them I was going to be an actress. I have no idea how that happened. I was Jamaican, I lived in the country, I had never seen television, I had never seen a film, I had no idea. So the only thing I can figure is that somewhere along the line, people had movie magazines with actresses doing sort of, you know, I'm so-and-so, and I use Olivia on my face, and, you know, one of those kind of things. A lot of those were around. And I thought, that's the only way. I have no idea how that happened. And it was in my head from that age that I wanted to be an actress. So, as I said, I didn't see television until I arrived in London when I was just about 13. And that television was about 2 hours a day in black and white. So and it wasn't, you know, it was news and kiddie stuff. So I have no idea. Actually, I did see a film when I was a little girl. My uncle and aunt used to get a projector and stick a thing in the backyard under the mango trees, and we'd all sit around. The whole family would gather and we'd watch Laurel and Hardy and Chaplin and that, and of course there was a lot of raucous laughter. I mean, cackling beyond, I mean, just behaving, you know. And we were allowed to be completely crude and rude, basically. So that was my film.
Your dance sequence in Million Years BC is one of the best things in the movie.
Oh, wow.
Because it's very 60s, even though it's a million years BC. It's definitely very, was that choreographed by you, or did somebody else do that?
Well, they sort of choreographed it, but they gave me kind of freedom. And it's interesting because it was, I don't know, because I love to dance. I mean, my 60s were spent from 10 o'clock in the morning at night until 4 o'clock in the morning dancing, literally, to the point of, and doing it on my own. I mean, I didn't have to have a partner. I just got out of the dance floor and created. So this was sort of, I kind of went into a zone, actually, when I did it. And because of that, and they were drumming and there was all of this, and I got right into it. So much so that when it showed in America, they cut the scene. So, and I said, I don't understand it, I was fully clothed. You know, I don't know all my levels.
And were they doing the drumming while you were doing it, or was
Oh, there was
music?
it was just, the whole set was fantastic, actually. It was like wild. So, it allowed me to be the wild child that I was, truly. I mean, so much so that another scene that we had was the moment when we all eat, they roast a pig, and we all have to go in there and pull it out. It was proper, delicious roasted pig. Absolutely, and it was literally, we were heathens. I mean, we were absolute, we just went for it, and we'd sit there. So it was easy to behave like that, because they provided, the set. This is the same thing with the dancing, and the fighting.
Well, not to be a capitalist or anything, but you do have a really great photo from that dance scene at your table.
I do.
Available for purchase.
And you met my agent, my PR man.
It's actually an amazing photo, and you are in full swing.
Oh, full swing, yes, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's great.
I danced a lot in films too. So apart from the fighting, I was also dancing, because I think that might have been the first one I did. And then the next one was probably Prehistoric Women. Oh, and I really get to go to town on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's choreographed, and it's actually it's ridiculous. But I full charge, full commitment to it, And also I did a film in Italy called Il Bacio, which is amazing, because I did 2 dances. I mean, and spent a lot of time choreographing this, because I play this very sort of dark, creative dancer of a time. It was sort of in the Art Deco period. And the costumes are amazing, absolutely amazing. And I do 2 dances. One is a very strange dance like this, and then the other one is a veils, 7 veils, and I have to take off my veils, and I have to expose my breasts. And so, I mean, and there were, so it's like Martine Beswicke dances as well. So there you go.
And there's a photo of that available. Anyone else? No.
What excites you these days, like music, movies, books? What sort of thing gets you up that morning?
Oh, well, I'm a complete and utter book. I mean, I have to have about 3 books just sitting on the shelf, waiting for this one to finish so I can go right to that one. Now my bookshelves, I keep giving them away to charity, but they're heaving. I love books, and I love selecting new writers. And music, cannot live without it. Absolutely, and I keep discovering people. I don't know if you've heard of this wonderful Ray. There's a wonderful singer called Ray. Oh my God, she just won Brits. She just won 6 of them, and it's historic, just fabulous. So I love my music. I love my music. I mean, I have it with me. I bring my music. In fact, when I used to go, and I went on set, especially, I mean, I remember doing it, going out to Lanzarote, going out to film 1 Million Years BC. And as I get off this little plane on this little tiny, tiny little mud sort of sandbank, I'm carrying in one hand, the bags over here, one hand is records, vinyl, the other one is my record player. And I carried them on every location. I couldn't live without it. But can you imagine carrying all of that stuff? I mean, now it's just like on your phone and everything. So yeah, I cannot live without any of that stuff, but I have all of that. And of course I love wonderful food. And lovely drink. And champagne for me.
Do you have a favorite
author?
Sorry?
Do you have a favorite author? I'll give you 3. Your favorite 3 authors.
Well, Jean Rhys was one of my favorites for many, many, many years. And I did, finally, one of the films I did, the last big film I did, was Wide Sargasso Sea. Did you ever read any of her stuff?
I have a treat now.
Oh my God, what she did was when she wrote, because she was born in I think she was born in Dominica, so she's Caribbean, and she sets this particular thing is set in Jamaica, and when she writes, you can almost smell, when she describes the place, you can almost smell the flowers, and you can almost hear the birds. I mean, she is so wonderful and descriptive. And I love that kind. Those are the kind of authors I like, who kind of take you truly to that place, to another place. So that was one of my first ones. But I've kind of started to discover many new ones. I just discovered this little African woman who did this wonderful thing called, what's it called? The Voice, oh no, I can't remember what it is. It's a very odd title. But I keep discovering one, because basically how I do it is I go into, it would probably be Barnes & Noble here, but it's Waterstones in London. And I go into Waterstones and I spend like an hour going through all the books and I, flick it open, see how they write and see who it is and the stories, and then I make my selection. I always buy 3. So I can always have, God knows if I stop, if I finish a book and there's not one waiting, I mean, it's like, take me away now. So, yeah, so I wish I could tell you more because, fantastic. Amor Towles, he wrote A Gentleman in Moscow, which was a TV series. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Again, I mean, he took you to Russia in that era. Well, you can tell I'm completely addicted to my books. Totally, yeah. I'm loving discovering new people. I just discovered another one, but I can't remember his name. It's sort of very, Nigerian name, and it's beautiful writing, just beautiful. So. There you go. But Jean Rhys, if you want to read, are you a reader? You are. What kind of books do you like?
Depends on the day, the year, the weather. It doesn't really matter. I like a lot of science fiction, but I got hooked on an author from Colorado who wrote. Her name is Sherry Tepper, and she
What did you?
Sherry Tepper. And I liked a lot of her stuff. She has a book called The Gate to Women's Country, which I absolutely loved. And I'm just sitting there thinking, I love biographies and autobiographies and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, good.
But yeah, I'm like you. I have like 3 to 4 books on my nightstand.
Yes, it's really. I mean, if I literally find myself without a book and I'm about to finish this one, it's like, oh my God, I have to go right now. I have to go to Waterstones and pick one right now.
Have you ever considered writing a biography, a memoir?
Yes.
publicity. Yes, I just finished one. I finally gave in because for years people were saying, you've got to write something. And I said, yeah, but I whined. I whine every now and again, And my sisters turn and say, Martine, come on, you can do it.
Do you have a title?
Huh?
Do you have a title?
I'm not going to tell you yet. No, it's going to be my name, and it's going to be Bond Girl, Scream Queen, and then I have a title as well. So basically, it happened. I mean, as I said, for years, this has been eons. This has been going on. And I don't know what it was that made me think, why not? But I have to have a ghostwriter. I mean, there was no way that I was going to be able to, because that was the whole point. And first of all, I'm not great with it. I don't even, the only thing I know on my computer is what I use here. I have no idea what all of that stuff is. I mean, if I touched that, I would probably blow up the computer because I really have no idea. So I thought, no, I can't do it. And it would take me forever and ever and ever. So I had to find a ghostwriter, and I found the perfect ghostwriter because he's written 4 books on Bond on location. And I met him on the one that he was launching in the Bahamas, and we became great friends. And then, 2 years later, we were at an event, because there's a whole Bond world out there. And I met him at this event, and I thought, I had a few. And I went up to him and I said, would you be interested? And he had already finished his he just finished his 4th book in Bond in south of France. And I said, could you be interested? And I sort of said, and I looked like, I don't know. And I kind of like, And he said, well, let me think about it. The next day, he came up, he sent me all these questions saying, well, what do you want out of this? And what do you think? I'm thinking, oh my God, he's serious. Well, what have I done? What have I done? And I said, and I asked all the question, I said, well, what do you think? And he said, I said, you realize this is a real commitment that I'm asking you to do. Do you have the time, and do you actually really want to get involved? And he said, yes, I've never done it before. I said, neither have I. He said, well, so let's do it together. That was it. And his name is Simon Firth, and he's lovely, and we've had a wonderful time. And also the president of the UK Bond Club, who's my dearest friend. They're all in my heart, my dearest friend. Anyway, they're very close friends, and they're plotting. They're doing more plotting. So I don't have to do anything. I just have to tell the stories, and he wrote it all down. And we just finished last week. So I don't know how long, because now begins the publishing and the printing and the reading and the thing. There's all sorts of things to do. So yeah.
You know how Charles Dickens' The Tale of Two Cities starts with, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. May I suggest as the opening line, I was a very good girl, but Eliza was a cow. No. Sorry. My whole thing is, I am a wild child. That's it. I don't need anybody else in there. I was, a wild child beyond belief. To the point that when I was like 3 and 4, I went on adventures. I was in the country, way out in the country in Jamaica. And I would literally disappear. And my poor parents, I don't know how they managed to put up with it. To the point that there was one point, apparently, that we had a swimming pool in there too, and the gate was always locked. And for some reason, I thought I could get in. The only thing I remember, taking off all my clothes and climbing my favorite mango tree, and I was about 4, and lying, and I had a particular place that I lied, and it had like a Y place, which meant like it was sort of almost like it supported me. And I would look through, and I would look at all the clouds, and I would my parents
I don't know how they found me. They were, because of course I'd left the clothes at the gate. So they thought, oh my God, they really thought that I had, you know, climbed over the gate and drowned. So they had to I mean, it was so, I mean, my parents, I don't know how, my mother was beside herself, I mean, the whole time. Then I literally went on walks. I mean, I got on a bus. Luckily, they knew who I was because I belonged to the, you know, the Beswicke, the Beswicke family. And so they took me off the bus and brought me home. But I did this forever until they said they couldn't take it anymore. So they bought me a little pink leather harness. And forevermore, it is like, I swear to God, it's the very thing that says, don't fence me in. So I continue to be the wild child that I was and will always be. So that's...
So you were born in Jamaica, and then lived there, and then moved, when you were about 13 to London?
Yeah, I moved, actually it was literally just before my 13th birthday.
So where do you live now?
London.
You're still in London, but you came over to...
I lived in LA for 30 odd years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
doing films.
Yeah, because it was, you know, work.
That's where, yeah.
And as I did with Rome, I lived there for a couple of years too, because that was work. It's always work, but work and love.
So are you happy to be back in London?
Sorry?
Are you happy to be back in
Ah,
London?
yes, I am. I went back because my mom and sister were there. They're both gone now. But I just had to be with them. I don't know. I didn't particularly want to go back because I was having a lovely time in California. But it was something that sort of came to me and said, oh, okay, it's time.
Time to go home.
I was not pleased when this sort of voice came and said, you have to be with your family. I went, no. But I did. And I'm very glad I did because I had a lovely time visiting. And with my mom, it was great. It was really great. So, yeah.
Everyone, thank you for coming today. And you've asked great questions. You have been entertaining, as you are. And so we appreciate it. Thank you for being here at MONSTERAMA.
And thank you all. I mean, that was very enjoyable being with you all. It was really lovely. Thank you. Thank you very much.